I went through a lonely path and I came through.
Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel and it's such a delight to have you back. My name is New Wine and I am back with a bang. So today, as the title suggests, I am going to be sharing my experience with COVID-19. This is not something I want to talk about at all because of the stigma. But anyway, I've decided to share the story and reasons which I will be talking about later on in the video. So how did it all start? It started just at the verge of lockdown, precisely on a Monday. So I was well, I was fine during the day, and at night time I developed this horrendous muscle aches and pains. It progressively got worse each night, so that by Friday, it became so intense that I couldn't sleep. And I was just wondering what was going off. I didn't think about COVID at that time because I didn't have the typical symptoms. So I didn't have the cough, the high temperature or the shortness of breath. So I carried on as normal. The next Monday, I became so unwell. I felt like my body was going to explode. I developed this banging headache, felt really sick. I became so confused. When I say confused, it wasn't like I didn't know where I was, but I couldn't function. It felt like my whole brain was filled with wool. I wasn't with it. I also had stuffy nose. So I had to rush home immediately because I wasn't well and I wasn't even confident enough to drive. So, but eventually I got home. At that point, I became worse. I had cough, dry cough. My sense of smell was reduced. So, no, it wasn't reduced. It was zero. I could not smell nothing. Food tasted like rubber in my mouth. All I was doing was drinking. I wasn't eating at all, and I was sleeping for hours. Things got worse each day, but then after about another 7 days, I started to feel better. I was so lucky because I didn't have the typical chest symptoms, so my cough did not get worse. I didn't have shortness of breath. I didn't develop a pneumonia, and there was no reason to go into hospital, so I was just at home. So the aftermath was that I lost weight. And I also had this, this lethargy and this tiredness that continued for another 2 weeks. It was a lonely journey for me because I didn't want to tell anyone about it. I didn't tell my parents or my siblings because I didn't want to put them into panic mode, and I didn't want them to be overtly anxious about what the outcome could be. I think I told only a couple of friends, but I downplayed the symptoms. I really didn't want anyone to know because I felt that they were going to run away from me or they wouldn't want to pick up my calls. So the true reason why I want to share this experience with you is because I have spoken to a few people and they still think that coronavirus is a scam. COVID-19 is a scam, guys. I don't know what to say to that. All I can tell you is that it's as real as the money in your hands. It's not a scam. I thought so as well. I thought it was invincible. I thought it couldn't come close to me. Like, it won't choose me. It won't dare choose me. I don't do colds. I don't do flus. So why would it come to me? But you know what? As at the time that I had it, there were only few cases in the city where I lived in. So you know what? It's closer than you think, honestly. And he's no respecter of person. Prime ministers have had it. Pastors have had it. Anyone can have it. All you need to do is just to protect yourself and hope for the best. Oops, it's not just flu. What I had was no match for flu. In fact, in my terms, I'll call it a wicked virus because there's this mysteriousness about it. I had this burning sensation all over my body when I had it. So, oh guys, it's not flu. And I don't think I've felt that unwell before for as long as I can remember. Having said that, people exhibit different symptoms. Some people have no symptoms at all. Some people have mild symptoms, some people moderate symptoms or severe symptoms, which can become very fatal. So no, it's not flu. And also it is highly contagious. Highly contagious, honestly. I did all the right things, you know, cleaned my surfaces, hand washing, all that. I still ended up having it. So no, it's a wicked virus. Chanel's sister had COVID-19. Wow! So, did I buy it? No. Did I steal it? No. I probably got it from work. I probably got it from a patient. So, it's one of the hazards of my profession. If you really love me, just thank God for me. Do not run away from me. Because I'm no longer infected. The impact of this experience on my life is inexhaustible. I cannot begin to share it. But notably, it has made me to be grateful for the gift of life. I remember when I was ill, I would go to my door and I'll pray to God to spare my life so I will be able to open it the next day. And it was so frightening. And I thank God that I'm here today. And it just makes me think that there's a being that has just kept me alive, and I'm so grateful for that. It could have been the other way. It could have been the other way. And the thing is, you do not have a choice to what part of the spectrum you're going to fall into. So what helped me? Lots of fluids, lots of hot fluids. I just kept drinking and drinking because I couldn't eat, and that really helps to sort of like prevent you from being dehydrated, and also in effect clear out the virus from your system. Also vitamin D and vitamin C, it boosts your immunity, and a lot of rest. In my case, I was bedbound. I was sleeping for the whole country, so but rest actually does help. There's something else that helped me, which I would like to mention, even though I'm aware that a lot of people do not share my faith, but it did help me, and I would like to share it. It is the Holy Communion. It's something that Christians take in remembrance of Christ. So when you take it, you have faith that you're taking the flesh of Christ and the blood of Christ. So there was this particular night I was really in a bad state. My husband saw me over the phone and he was petrified. He told my daughter to get water and bread, and he blessed it. And I took it by faith that night. When I woke up the next morning, there was a dramatic change. I started to feel well. And I was like, but the night before I was really, really poorly, that I was even thinking, am I sure I shouldn't be going to the hospital now? And then this morning I'm feeling better. So yes, the Holy Communion. 2 weeks ago, I had the COVID-19 antibody test and it came back positive. This confirms and validates the fact that I've had exposure to the virus and also a previous infection. So the big question is, am I now immune? I would not be able to answer that. And this is because a lot is still not known about the coronavirus at this point in time. So ideally, antibodies are supposed to confer immunity against a reinfection. But in the case of the coronavirus, because we do not fully understand it yet, we're not sure if if the antibodies will provide adequate immunity. And if it does, we're not sure if it will confer limited immunity or a lifetime immunity. Also, we know that the coronavirus has a tendency to mutate into different strains, so that if you had exposure to strain L, you might still not be protected if you have contact with strain S. So it is imperative that I still protect myself like every other person would. And so guys, on a last note, and as the lockdown is being gradually eased off, I would like to stress the need for us to continue to protect ourselves. And as I've mentioned earlier, COVID-19 is not a scam and anyone can get it. And it's something that I do not wish even for my enemy to have. So please protect yourselves. There is no 100% guarantee for protection, but at least we can minimize the risk. So things like hand washing, cleaning of surfaces and all of those, please adhere to those. Also, avoid non-essential contact with others. Stay at home and only go out if you need to. If you're going to be coming in contact with a lot of people, please use the face mask and hand gloves. This will minimize the risk. Also, be wary of public surfaces like the ATM machines and the lifting nozzles at the gas station. You can imagine in the first week of my illness, when I did not display the typical symptoms, I was still going about, doing the usual things, going to stores, using ATM machines and all of those. And unfortunately, I would, in that process, have infected a lot of people. So everybody is a suspect. So just try and protect yourself as much as you can. So thank you so much for staying with me. And until I come your way next time, it's me, New Wine. And you know what? I love you loads. Take care of yourself and God bless. Stay safe.